Hey, what's going on, y'all? Back with another one. Back with another one. Oh, a little bit late. Let's go on. Let me check this out. Let me check this out. Let's go on, Bunker. Salute, 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 salute. Hang on. This ain't no entertainment. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna make it nonprofit because this is about Corey. This is about Corey Kitchen's recent um dust up with YouTube showing favoritism. It's always been a thing in modern business. So I'm going to speak on what he was saying about YouTube and practice. Well, Corey, you have to understand a lot of times people will look at it, a lot of people say he's looking at his wine and whatever, but he has to understand it's always been nepotism in business. I didn't think I have information laid out, but YouTube has standard rules. I'm not going to go in depth because I'm going to cover what he said about the age restricting. Be careful when you make content for children or anything else, because that's how they get you. That's another way that they take you down a notch. So you're pretty much not listening to the rules if you're on the other side, especially at 14 million. You've been on here what 10 years like I have. Well, I've been on here more than 10 years than you. So I had a channel prior to this. So I've been on here like 15 years, but you should know by now YouTube is not playing. They don't really care about you trying to do it for children or whatnot. They already took the gloves off. That's what that COPA law is for. That's why a lot of people don't care for it. So they want you to leave or whatever. They try to say don't bother. No, it'll affect them. The big YouTubers, if they get tired and they get enough of it, they won't grow. I mean, they got money, they'll fall back on it. Most people are replaceable, of course, but it doesn't mean anything. It don't last on Google, and this site can be replaceable by if you do your own thing and go on other content. But Corey has to understand, being a Christian on this shit, don't even think about it, man. Like, you should have been knowing, yeah, it has some racism here and things like that. But what you do is you counter it. People get monetized. I understand, but I try not to monetize shit on here. It's just not worth it because so many stipulations and they water down the truth. They don't want guys like us to prosper. So you got to understand when you speak stuff like I speak, it's not going to get a lot of views, but it's not going to get a lot of respect. So the audience you keep, salute, is what you're going to get. So you're pretty much stuck where you at. So Corey, this is the type of stuff that you got to understand. Yeah, nepotism is always a thing in modern business, always have been, always will be. And I think nepotism will always exist. So on search for something, I got to search for something. I'll say social companies always show 20 sides of favoritism work and what you can do about it. There's little no harm having a favorite book, favorite flavor, ice cream, or favorite piece of work. Well, this is kind of like, what you see on YouTube. And it's 56% of the bosses already have a favorite in mind for promotion before the formal review process begins. Yeah, y'all semi employees on YouTube, but this is show you what favoritism is. They said 20 signs of favoritism at work. This is a following extensive list. Favoritism in the workplace, as found in research studies from Central Michigan University, some signs listed are outright examples of favoritism, while maybe the subtle display of favoritism that over time create a problem among leaders and employees. Number one, spends more time having informal interactions with certain employees, ex joking, non work related conversations. That's number one. Number two, they said spend more time talking with certain employees about work related topics. um, assignments and plans. And number three has an open door policy only for certain employees. That's like that on YouTube. And okay, let's pass or use the formal authority to cover up certain employees' mistakes. Yep, it's very common. Five, favors certain employees in the altercation of the workload. It can it can either be more overtime or lighter workload. Favors can certain employees allocations of limited resources over and others in budget technology staff. Gives certain employees additional help coaching during the completion of assignments. Yeah, let's see. Number eight, gives certain employees more praise for accomplishments than others do not get praise for. Number nine, favors certain employees when making certain decisions or recommendations regarding promotions or pay. Number 10, assign desired tasks to certain employees. Number 11, assist certain employees with career development and not others. Number 12, gives certain employees performance evaluations that do not deserve. Number 13, gives certain employees more frequent and timely feedback. But 14, lets certain employees get away with actions that others employees would be reprimanded for. 15, considers the suggestions of only certain employees. 16, reviews certain employees work more quickly than others work with similar priority levels. Number 17, looks like the other way certain employees waste time. 18 is more flexible in terms of the absence tardiness, vacation, sickness. Yeah, I dealt with that shit for certain employees and not others. And 19, sides with certain employees with conflict at work arises. 20, passes along important work related information only to certain employees. Three things employees can do about favoritism: rationally assess the situation, two, talk to a mentor, and stand up for yourself. That's the three things. And the 20 things I just read, I'll show you on the screen. Hold on for a minute. I'll show y'all on the screen. Salute, Roguish, salute. And this is gonna be very interesting. Hold on. I'm gonna give y'all. I'm gonna share the screen a little bit. 20 signs. And what I just read with the 20, YouTube is very commonplace. It's like any social sites, and I just found this. This is the Niagara Institute talking about favoritism in the workplace. And if you say you're an employee of any company or a corporation, but three things they tell you: rationally assesses the situation. You already know what that is. Talk to a mentor, the head in charge, or stand up for yourself. Most people will choose this over these two. These are nice, but realistically depends on the job you have. Number three is your best choice. But Corey, you stood up for yourself and it worked, but you pulled a card. Rationally assesses the situation. We're going to read this part. Before you do anything, take necessary time to assess the situation, which you did, and rationally as you can, but think about the exact situation where you believe you experience favoritism, like equals nepotism. Consider all the possible reasons another employee receives the treatment they did. They have a technical qualification, impersonal skill, or relationship that would have influenced your leader's actions or decisions. Once you have assessed the situation, you will be more sure of what you want to be your next step be. That's what he did, and he saw it in a video. It's like in a video game, and but Corey and both of them got slapped with the age restricted. I think it's Mark Pilar, or whatever you want his name is, the white boy, and he did all that. And then he tried to talk to his mentor, his team, and this is what Corey did. If you're in situations, he didn't say it was racist or anything. He just challenged the nepotism and of this site. If you're an employee of this site or a partner or whatever, and they get special treatment. So he's no different. But the reason I'm doing this stream is because to show people that favoritism does exist. It always have been, always will be. It's always part of business. There's three things you can do about it. And I got this from the Niagara Institute. And I basically mean you could do something about it. You could do something about it or just sit there and just be ignorant. You know what I mean? Who's removing from the situation? You should present them with your rational assessment of the situation. Share your design of course of action. They may wholeheartedly agree with your assessment, somewhat agree, or flat out disagree. Like YouTube did disagree with their points, and they gave them the age restricted, like he said. At first, they took it away, and then they threw it back. They had to, like this thing says right here, and that's what he experienced. Whatever their response may be, to remain open into any constructive feedback. They have to do author the insight, and an impartial individual can provide maybe the exactly what you need to do effectively deal with favoritism you are experiencing. See, he talked to his mentors, he talked to his team technically, and he did stand up for himself, and he wrote them and he countered it. So if you've done the previous two things, then you have to have done your due diligence, which he did, and can confirmably move forward with your action plan, which may mean standing up for yourself. If you do, make sure to provide an example or evidence of favoritism you have. Speak with clarity, and above all, remaining confident in your convictions. That's what he did. So what Corey did, that what he showed y'all, he wrote them and he stood up for himself, showed the video evidence, and they repealed it. And then they just slapped it right back on him. Or well, actually, the other guy as well. He had the same video and countered it. So it's pretty much what Corey did was the right thing. He did the obvious thing. Is pretty much stood up for himself. When you stand up for yourself, it's a big leap, right? So if you really understand Corey's situation, he experienced nepotism, aka favoritism. It's damn near similar, and it's just what it is. So three things the leaders can do about favoritism: identify your unconscious bias. Don't wait for something to go wrong to take action. Seek out the support of a leadership coach, and that's what they do. And then there's the bias, of course, and then conclusion, favoritism at work can jeopardize the trust of employees, have their leaders or their teammates, breed resentment, create conflicts, and undermine collaborations. In fact, a study by the O.C. Tanner Institute found that favoritism can stifle engagement and increase the odds of an employee burnout by 23%. This highlights what was stated earlier. Favoritism is a dangerous and toxic. Let's read that again. Was stated earlier. Let's read that. Let's read that from the top again. Favoritism is dangerous and toxic. I'm glad they use these words, dangerous and toxic. Fortunately, if leaders and employees know the signs of favoritism, they can hold each other mutually accountable for stopping favoritism in its tracks. That's the conclusion. So that's what I was reading from, and it's pretty much. And I'm just like out here. I'm just gonna put this in the chat, but yeah, that's what Corey Kenshin's experience is. Favoritism, what they will call nepotism today, is pretty much you gotta understand this stuff is, yeah, it is. It's very common. It stalls conflict, and the general put that down. Yeah. So you have an individual that deals with favoritism, and then he's trying to tell you the conclusion. I just put the link in if y'all want it. And they talk about the cronyism in St. Clara University, and we're going to talk about favoritism tonight. Even though nepotism is another word for another name for it, they're all similar. So I don't know if they're different or similar, but we'll get into that. What's the odds? And we got the Santa Clara Santa Clara University EDU government, cronyism and things like that. So we're talking about all that tonight. And it's always been in the workplace, and that's what stifles growth and potential means or whatnot. So this is what it is, man. Like, you see this all the time, and then you see this in motion. But I just don't understand why people just don't understand. Like with Corey, he has to understand when you're in a business or so-called business of YouTube, and you're on their side as a partner, you're gonna deal with a lot of shit. You're gonna put up with a lot of shit, and that's just basically what it is. And I'm not saying any different. You're pretty much in, you know, and that's how I knew what was going on. So it's pretty much what's left. But yeah, favoritism, that's a big thing. I dealt with it a few times in the workplace, and I handled it right. Shouts out to Brother X. He's SKC and Trey MBD is debating, which is interesting. And shouts out to I am Courtney. She's talking to Mr. Palmer. But you know how it is, But shouts out to Courtney. I know she's doing her thing. Everybody doing their thing. Tomorrow I'll be talking about something totally different, but we'll talk about the last Pineapple Show from this week next Thursday. I got some pictures and shouts out to Absalon, and I'll explain about this narcissistic Instagram hoe that we're gonna deal with next week. We ain't gonna deal with her this week, but next week we're just gonna go in on her ass because a lot of them like that. Just be careful when you date those Instagram narcissists, man. They just want some digging today. They don't want no relationship. Y'all just be careful. See, Melly wants to get paid and she wants that money. She getting models now because since she's a so-called model, a failed one at that, trying to get back into the industry, ain't nobody want to ask though. She's thirsty for dick too. I see it all the time. It's laughable. Like, what are you trying to pull? But I'm getting off topic. Let's get back on topic. But yeah, favoritism. Like Corey has to understand. Yes, you're gonna see he was trying to use racism as a tool, but you have to understand racism is a part of it, but it's not something that I focus on YouTube. Yes, there is. It's a little bit. You have liberal racists, what we call them liberal fascists. You ask me. I don't care for them motherfuckers. But you just got to be mindful. That's the stuff you got to deal with. So basically, I'm saying is you got to understand that this stuff is real. It's real like that. It's very, very real. So if you're coming up here talking about video games and a lot of stuff, and then you talk about religion, you got to be careful about that because religion is the number one thing they can trump you with, especially if you're doing your content for children. Be careful. They don't give a shit. There was a guy that did the Lego things and he did his content for kids, which is a bad idea because since that COPA law, you get destroyed, man. Don't even think about it. You fellas that do that type of content. If you're a bigger YouTuber or a small, trying to, don't even think about it. Just press no and then move on. That's all you do. Like I said, no is bad. No is good because no, you don't get flagged as much. You get a warning. That's it, and you can fight it. See, when you press yes, it's a wrap. YouTube know what they want. They start to say YouTube's like that. No, YouTube picks who they want to pick. They pick and choose who's good. And if you have no content and has great content, they'll leave you alone. You know what I'm saying? They'll leave you alone. They let you do content. It's just they pick and choose what they want. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. So there's other places you can do that on, right? But Corey has to understand you're not the only nigga that has 14 million, but Marquise Brown probably got more than that. He's probably got 16 to 17 million right now. Marquise Brownlee's ahead of you, my man. He's a nigga. You know what he don't talk about? I know he talks about tech and everything else and a little bit of politics, but do you know what else he don't talk about? Religion. Religion fucks up everything. Everything. If you talk about it 24/7 and you do it for children, you're done. Especially Christian too. They're gonna look at you as a pedophile. You gotta be careful. Corey, man, you just got to know people ain't gonna fuck with you long term. That's the thing. So if you see that, that's gonna be the thing and the problem. So it's pretty much like, hey, so we got another one for y'all. I'm not gonna post these that much, but I'm just gonna let's talk about this right quick. We're gonna talk about and Corey needs to understand. I'm gonna pick up the screen for y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the screen for y'all. Get it up here. I'll read this part. It says Judy Nadler and Miriam Schulman. These materials were prepared to in the Center of Applied Ethics. Markufia or Center is it Markufia? Yeah, Markufia Center for Applied Ethics and Programming Government Ethics by former senior fellow Judy Nadler and former communications director Miriam Schulman. What are favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism? What do favoritism and cronyism and nepotism have to do with ethics? What ethical dilemmas do favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism present? Okay, that's what we're going to talk about these things. Okay, as favoritism is the broadest of these related terms, we'll start with its definition. Basically, favoritism is just what it sounds like. Favoring a person not because he or she is doing the best job, but rather because some extraneous extraneous feature membership is favorite group, personal likes and dislikes, etc. Favoritism can be demonstrated in hiring, honoring, or rewarding contracts. A related idea is patronage. Yeah, patronage giving public service jobs to those who may have helped elect the person who has the power of appointment. Favoritism has always been his. I'll read this part again. Favoritism has always been a complaint in government service. In 2002, a survey from federal government's office of personal management and found that only 36.1% of the federal workers thought promotions in their work units were based on merit. Government Executive Magazine, Playing Favorites by Brian Friel, October 2004, they believe that the connections in partisanship and other factors played a role. Cronyism is a more specific form of favoritism, referring to a partially towards friends and associates as the old saying goes. The old saying goes, it's not what you know, but who you know. Yeah, that's stupid ass saying. That's cronyism. I remember they was telling me that shit in high school. It's a bunch of bullshit. Fuck out of here. That's what's wrong with the world today. Bunch of fucking narcissist fucks out there. Excuse me. Or as a blogger, Danny Ferguson put it, it's not what you don't know, it's who your college roommate knows. Exactly. I like that. Let's read that part again by Danny Ferguson. Put it, it's not what you don't know, it's who your college roommate knows. Cronyism occurs within a network insiders, good old boys. Yeah, good old boys. I always use that term, good old boys, good old boy motherfuckers, who confer favors on one another. Nepotism is an even narrower form of favoritism. So, okay, cronyism and nepotism are a form of favoritism. So they are favoritism. Okay, we just narrow it down. Let's talk about nepotism, like the title says in our stream. It says nepotism is always a thing in modern business. That's factual, right? Factual. But we're going to read this part right here. And it's a narrow view, a narcissistic view, but coming from the Italian words for nephew, it covers favoritism to members of the family. Both nepotism and cronyism are often at work when political parties recruit candidates for public office. And this is factual. You got it in every workplace and business, especially technology like social network slash social media. What do favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism have to do with ethics? One of the most basic themes in ethics is fairness, stated this by Aristotle. Equals should be treated equally and unequals unequally. But favoritism and cronyism and nepotism all interfere with the fairness because they give undue advantage to someone who does not necessarily merit this treatment. In this public sphere, favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism also undermine the common good when someone is granted a position because of the connections rather than because he or she has the best credentials and experience. But the service that the person renders to the public inferior, may be inferior. See? Also, because the favoritism is often covert and a few elected officials are foolish enough to show open and partially to friends and family. This practice undercuts the transparency that should be a part of the governmental hiring and contracting processes. See, that's about. It does with ethics. What ethical dilemmas do favoritism and cronyism and nepotism present? Probably the biggest dilemma present by favoritism is that under the various other names, few people see it as a problem. Connections, networking, family, almost everyone has a drawn on the sources of support and job hunting in private sphere. And everyone can point to the instance where cronyism or nepotism is an accepted fact of life in the political sphere, as well as John F. Kennedy, for example, JFK, rest in peace, for example, appointed his brother Robert as an attorney general. Every president and governor names closest associates to key cabinets positions, mayors put those they know and trust on citizens in committees and commissions. Friends and family can usually be counted on for loyalty. That's facts. And office holders are all in good position. I mean, all office holders are good positions to know their strengths. Yep. So what's the problem? They ask us what's the problem, and I'm just gonna give y'all this, and just leave it there. First, this issue is competence for the cabinet levels, and an executive will probably be drawn to experienced, qualified candidates. But historically, the lower down the ladder, the more likely for someone's brother-in-law to be slipped into a job which he is not qualified. But the American Civil Service Act was passed in 1883 in large part because so many patronage jobs down to dog catcher were being filled by people whose only qualifications for employment was to the support for a particular party or candidate. Also, an appearance of favoritism and weakness morale in government service, not to mention public faith in the integrity of government. Reasonable people will differ about the appointment of friends and family in high level positions, but officials should have be aware that such choice can give the appearance of an unfairness. According to the National Conference of State Legislators, 19 state legislators have found the practice of nepotism troubling enough to enact laws against it. Others may restrict the hiring of relatives or friends in more general conflict of interest rules. Public officials should also note that the dilemmas involving favoritism is extended beyond hiring and contracting practice to the more general problem of influence. Golfing partners, people who come over for Sunday dinner, members of the same congregation, all are likely to exert a greater influence over an official than a straight might. Council members, mayors, and legislators must make the special efforts to ensure that they hear all sides of an issue rather than just relying on the views of the people they know. Further, many constituents lawmakers have discovered that they must change their patterns of socializing when their work involves many decisions and affecting friends and associates. At the least, they may choose to rescue themselves from votes where social relationships may exact undue influence. So it's pretty much we talk about nepotism, and this is all I got for tonight. So y'all choke on this or read this later. I'm gonna give y'all a copy and we'll put this down. This is like what I do, and when I talk about these things, I'm just gonna put this in the chat. So paste this here. So if y'all want to read, that's what I'm coming with. I'm gonna stop the screen share. And so basically, you know, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's always in the workplace. It's always been there. Corey has to understand this stuff is surreal, man. Like it's surreal out here. You just got to understand that this stuff is always going to be a thing when you talk about favoritism. Most of the time, people, when they get in a rut, and then especially on YouTube, and if you got more subscribers than anybody, and especially you've been on here for 10 years, you ought to know no one gives a fuck. Okay. When you're on YouTube, you really got to show and prove who you are all the time. Right. So basically, I'm just saying, stop looking for opportunities to come through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know nepotism is a form of favoritism, and it's always been in the workplace for years, and there's a lot of bias on there, right? So it's pretty much I'm just saying like this stuff is very accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying that anything wrong is good, but you got to be keep in mind that the stuff is here. Stuff is here to understand. You gotta understand something. That shows you that what time it is, and that's just how people got to move forward. But you know how it is. And that's the thing. But when you're dealing with it all the time, you know. And that's what he has to understand. Yeah, you can talk about race and this and that, but you gotta understand. Yeah, I'm gonna look at my boy. Yeah, Daquan. I'm gonna look at him tonight. But shouts out to everybody, man. Like, this is the stuff that we talking about. And that's just what it is. They said, guess who's mad? But yeah, this is the stuff that we gotta understand, man. And that's just what it is. But we gotta understand something. Some things you just gotta leave alone. But like that's what I'm gonna say tonight. But yeah, favoritism is a big deal. Favoritism is a big deal. But but he has to understand, like, yeah, you talk about it. Yeah, I've been peeping that for years, man. Like a lot of people, they just want to just be heard and seen and be ignorant about the fact that this stuff is just what it is. I mean, that's how I look at it. But in so many words. But like I said, the stuff that we talk about, Corey has to understand that this stuff is not going away. It's not going away anytime soon. Like you're not gonna stop somebody gonna be favoritism to you 9 out of 10. But that's just how it works. You know what I'm saying? But I'll let me step away real quick. I'll be right back. Let me go on mute. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back again. So let's talk about it. So Corey talks about favoritism. He talks about racism at the same time. It's a combination of both, but talking about race, they gonna complain and bitch, like liberal fascists they will. This is what they do. I mean, show us in our face. Now, I know they're trying to get right wing politics off this net. We get it. But it's hard to do because there's other platforms and they'll spew their rhetoric on Rumble and everywhere else. This is the only site that is mainstream. And I don't say much anymore. I just talk about the historical facts, how fake everybody else is. But Corey, you should have been knowing. Once you sign that monetization shit, they got you. A lot of people say it's good, but yeah, it depends on what you talk about. Politics is not bad. Here's the thing. You just gotta talk about the historical sides, like what I'm doing. You may not get no views, but don't go in depth. Don't go extreme, and don't go. It's Patreon's not the answer. You to fuck Patreon, but go to other sites that support your shit. Now Rumble is a good option, but my issue with them is they're biased. They're just as bad as YouTube is. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your fucking energy. Politics, a lot of people say it's a no go. Bullshit. It is a go, but sometimes it can be a no go if you go too extreme. But here's the thing: his problem, Corey's problem, what I have with him is he's a Christian. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Christians either, but I'm saying him being a Christian, I respect him for being honest, and he say he serves the Lord, his God, not mine. That's not my God. That's his God. I serve my own. That's the living Most High Himself in the Torah, not in the New Testament. But that's Corey's shit. Corey shit is over there. He over there. Okay. He on the other side got 14 million. So he may not watch this or not, but whoever watches this, pass this on to him and let him know that dude, racism is what it is, man. Like you sign that, you pay for it. See, I don't do that YouTube black bullshit. I remember that years ago. I remember that sorry ass convention they had. I remember that. That was like 2017 and one of those years when I wasn't doing content, 2019. Then you ever heard from it again in 2020? What the hell happened to that? I mean, y'all talk about real things, but I don't see no result. So what are y'all saying? You know what I'm saying? Like what's the purpose of having content if you're not doing anything? Right? So I'm not saying this to be mean or anything else, but I'm just saying, like, dude, nobody cares. You got 14 million and you doing this, and then you expect us to care. We don't really care. So it's basically what I'm saying is you got to do your due diligence. Let's see, quick, take the pad off for a minute, and you got to understand something. Most times, people don't care what you're feeling or whatever, right? I'm just saying, like, you gotta understand something real quick. If you're talking about Christianity and then mixing with video games, that's cool, but you got to be careful. They're gonna target, and you pressing yes on your content all the time. You're a target, man. They're gonna look at you like what you is. What do you expect? There's a lot of people get age restricted all the time, especially if y'all press yes all the time. That's definitely, even if you press no, yeah, you get age restricted, but not as much. But if you're monetized, they're watching all of it. No matter, I wish the yes and no. If you're monetized, that doesn't even matter. That doesn't even matter at this point. So you're pretty much on a standalone basis. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing that you're dealing with. But you know what I'm saying? But that's the whole purpose of it. Let me pad my sound again. Yeah, I got the white noise. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't expect people to not to like you over time, and you over here tripping about racism and this and that, and coming on to people. You're really in a limbo situation. So by default, you can't have that problem. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we're 41 minutes in. I'm gonna switch a mic for a minute. I'm just gonna set my uh the clearness out of this one, and then I'll turn the other one up, and then I'll set this one down, put this on post, and just keep it like that. But that's why I was talking. But I'll switch it in a minute. I'll switch it when it hits the hour mark. I'm gonna get in my dark, get my dark coloration in. I'm gonna use that. But on this one, I'm just gonna lay it to the side. You know what I'm saying? And just leave it in. Let me see some real quick. So yeah, I got a bunch of panel mics. I'm gonna keep this. Wherever I get on the panel, I'll use a different thing. So, like I said, it's pretty much it. But but yeah, when you talk about favoritism, you just do what your thing is, right? So I'm not saying anything at the moment, but you got to understand something that when you talk about favoritism a lot, you're pretty much in it. So it's like you expect much, and you expect more. So it's pretty much like what we're doing right now is you keep that fundamentals in. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that people are not focused on it, but that's the thing. So I don't realize when people act crazy and they be like, okay, this stuff is wild. So you're pretty much in it. So again, I don't understand why people are just crazy all of a sudden. And then they expect, YouTube to change. YouTube will never change. Once you sign that shit, you good. Good evening, UD. Good evening. But he's the main reason why there's dudes like him forget where he comes from. But since he got that 14 million up in his ass, he think they're not gonna go away. But you gotta understand that stuff happens all the time when you monetize. And I know people having problem getting their shit off, but be careful, man. Like when you do your content for children or whatever, they got you. You're done. You're finito to them. Cause see, what they're looking for is trying to get rid of you. See, you're not, and he's number one trending, and then he leaves the shit. How he gets his views? Well, you're a good content creator. See, you're better than Marquise Brownlee. So you're competing with him. He trusts. I ain't competing with nigga. You are competing with him. That's what it is. And Google and YouTube do not like that. They had to drop you down a peg. They had to do something to you to not go over. So their boy is Marquise Brownlee. He's in the safe zone. He don't talk about religion every day. That's why I try to refrain for those conversations because people are so emotional and dangerous. You don't know what they're gonna do. I experienced that 10 years ago, and then people threaten you online and shit. People get tired of that shit after a while. So it's pretty much you're here for the long haul. So I'm saying, like, that's the thing about content. So you pretty much you're stuck where you are. You're not sounding any different, but that's the thing about what you're going through and what you're capable of, right? So I like to say this: when you're talking about nepotism on this site, or you're in the workplace with them, don't you think that your religion got something to do with it? They look at your religion and you talk bad and go against their little metrosexual their norms. I talked about this outside on the vlog stream, and what I call it, because this is very important. I want y'all to understand why that's the new norm, and they're pushing this in entertainment. This has always been a thing. So what was it? What's it called? It's called, yeah, it's in my morning thoughts, a morning check-in and thoughts, and I was talking about metrosexuals, right? And that's the new thing. You got to understand this stuff ain't going nowhere. So you're in a tailspin. So when you talk about these things, you got to pretty much what you're in it for it now. So yeah, this stuff ain't nothing to play with. This stuff ain't nothing to play with. So yeah, I'm not tripping off of certain individuals. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go back to Daquan Wilshire. Yeah, Daquan is on fire at the moment. But politics is very important. It's very important. But you gotta understand something. This stuff is lifetime changing moments, but that's how it is. That's how it is. So when you talk about this stuff, this matters all the time. So Corey has to understand you're not gonna be here for a while. So enjoy the best of it, but that religion shit, that's gonna hold you back. You know, I know something about that. I understand it's good to talk about your shit, but if you force it on others or try to go against the grain with that, I understand where he's coming from. I don't watch Corey's shit. I don't watch his stuff, but I just say, look, he sound like a good, decent content creator. If he's making good numbers, I mean, salute him. I salute him for that. But he has to understand, as a Christian, I ain't gonna say as a Christian because I used to be one years ago, and now I left that shit in '09. I didn't care for that shit. But a former Christian myself, you gotta trust your own guard, man. You can't trust your own brethren unless they secure about themselves. I left that shit alone because it's a lot of fake motherfuckers in these religions, man. I got tired of that shit a long time ago. Even though I converted into the Most High on the Torah, living by the Zion praise as I should, I'm still standing on those principles. I'm not no atheist. I'm not no idiot out here. But that's a whole nother story. And you know why I don't do religious topics, Corey? People are so fucking emotional. They're mind fucked. So what's the point talking to them about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna argue about nobody about no damn religion. Now, politics, that's different. But religion, you can forget about it. You forget about it. They'll get crushed every fucking time. I don't do that shit no more. It's cool, but I don't do that shit no more. It's content, but it's a waste at the same time. So why waste my time on people that don't want to listen? So it takes time. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes dedication and time. So I don't understand why people put up with that shit. So, I was thinking about it and I said, look, we talked about nepotism in as in one, and then we talk about a little form of the narrow narcissistic view, nepotism equals favoritism. And it's the same thing. It's just in a narrow narcissistic view. That's why you got a lot of narcissists running around think they know everything, which they don't. It's just they forget who they fucking with. Ain't nobody deal with them afterwards. But that's a whole nother story. But that's I can talk a little bit about that in depth if I'm talking about myself on the low on that. You know. Don't you worry, the outside streams will come, but and it's gonna be days when it gets cold. I ain't gonna be outside as much. Y'all ought to know that by now. I'm just gonna drop some fucking pre-records and I'll be done, and that's it. I do the shit. I do the shit. I do this shit. And that's basically what I'm saying. Like, y'all gotta get your shit right and your mind right before you do anything else. Everybody's distracted by bullshit, the news and the war, like, nah. That's just to get your head fucked up. So you're out of the loop. You know what I'm saying? But that's the stuff that y'all gotta deal with long term. So the stuff that I'm dealing with is basic, so y'all gotta understand that shit is dead, man. You gotta let that shit go. So, when the hour comes through, I'll talk about it some more, because I ain't gonna be on here that long. So, because it's usually a 2 hour segment when I do my content. Once the 2 hours it and we're in. So it's pretty much like I just want to come in here and just talk. I'll probably go on for like another 30, 40 minutes and I might cut this one short. This is a short topic because Corey has to understand. I just told y'all about nepotism and things like that, but nepotism is very common in the workplace. Always have been, always will be. You can't stop it. You got to stand up for yourself. You also got to actually do the things you did before, and I showed y'all that part, and then I show you another part, that's evil there. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So y'all gotta understand this stuff is meaningful. You know what I'm saying? Like this stuff is very meaningful. So when you're on time, you expect much. So it's like, yeah, the stuff ain't going nowhere. I know it's Wednesday night. I know people is doing their thing and saying 5 minutes. Who is this? Yeah, I might talk about her a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, I might watch that pineapple bullshit. I might I might show y'all a surprise screenshot. I'm gonna do that for this Thursday, but we're gonna talk about it. Man, it's a lot of crazy shit. But that's the thing that you gotta understand. But most people they be like, okay, nepotism is always a thing in modern business. It's always have been. And this is a shot at Corey for not understanding that. Like this stuff ain't going away. It will never go away. It will never go away. It will never go away. So you gotta look at this stuff and expect why it ain't going away. You just gotta not understand what's going on. But previously on the bullshit, we here now. But and that's how I look at it. But like that's the thing about doing this and expect people to say everything. Was oh we 50 some minutes in, okay, we in it, and that's just pretty much it. So oh appreciate the 5 likes, appreciate it, and because this is 31 days of August. This is the last of August, and tomorrow is September 1st, late part of the summer, and boy, I'm enjoying this shit. But Sunday Madness. Sunday Madness. We're gonna talk about Sunday Madness. We'll talk a little bit about politics, but we talked about Corey like this past Sunday. So Sunday Madness. We talk about the 35th edition. Now we talk about the 36th edition. So it's pretty much Sunday Madness. It's in the books, and we just gotta understand something that this is the stuff that we talked about, and we talked about the modern politics and things like that. So yeah, Thursday Thrills is coming up. See the live. We ain't made nothing for Sunday. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna add Sunday Madness 36th edition. So the Sunday Madness was decent. We had our thoughts and everything. So we're pretty much in it. But like I said before, I say it again, this stuff matters only in time. So I don't understand why people don't understand the nepotism of the game. So when you have people like that, expect more. Expect pain and struggle and things like that. So you're really in the blight of the age that people just don't care, man. Like you always gonna have these problems. Let's not act like y'all don't have those problems, but y'all do. You know what I'm saying? But that's part of it. That's part of the journey that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying nothing any different. You just gotta comply with it, you know? And that's just the thing about these subjects. So if you're talking about nepotism, why change everything? You know what I'm saying? Like I want y'all to understand that this stuff is very real, because you expect more. Excuse me, my sinus is acting up, but that's just what it is. Like I think people are just going to come in and out. So and that's just the thing. So I know people are busy, whatever, but when the hour mark hits, I'm gonna keep talking, and then on the playback. But like I said, I've put the links in and showed y'all what it is. But if Corey was talking about it so much, why would he know the age restriction is a big deal? Once you sign that shit up, you're done. You got to know the rules, man. You got to know the policy, and especially if you're monetized, you ought to know that. That's how they get rid of you, and that's how you got to look at it. So let me see something real quick. All 58 minutes in, so we in here. Something real quick. It's a significant drop off, if y'all heard, because I'm gonna be talking to my other shit. So this one, I'm just gonna just leave there and just set it somewhere on the side. So y'all done heard my clearness for the night, but I'm gonna be smooth and dark for the rest of the way. So it's pretty much it. Like I said, if y'all understand that most people, they just gonna be like, okay, we here, we expect more, and there we are. But it's content, they're gonna say, no, Corey, you did this, and they try to say, is there a guy flagging my shit? He says, a human or is it an algorithm bot? It's a combination of both, and I think they use the algorithm bot as a control button. Then they use the humans trying to say, no, Corey, you talked about this, you violated, and they have their human eyes. They lie and have human eyes, different type of human eyes. That, and that's how I look at it. But it's pretty much the same, and people are just getting upset about what's going on in the world. And I ain't been focused on that Ukraine shit, so I'll look up some more nepotism in the works. Favoritism in the workplace, a complete guide is your app. Yeah, and it can be very dangerous. Yep, yep, yep. All day long. Ain't that much. So I'm just gonna knock this down a little bit. I'm just gonna see what I got in the archive. I gotta see what I got in the archive because I wanna see what's what. We're gonna talk about all that. We talk about that, nigga. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. We're gonna talk about Q next week, next Thursday. Get old girl off here. What's this shit? And I think Tasi was on that week too. Shouts out to him. Yeah, we got some screenshot for next Thursday. This Thursday, I'm just gonna chill. We're gonna talk about what's going on in gaming politics and things like that. So it's like it's pretty much what we have. All right, let me turn this up. All right. Yeah, yeah, we're back. So, like I said, yeah, we're gonna talk about gaming politics and things like that nature. So, as you can tell, Corey, the guy Kinshin or whatever his name is, he had an issue with the age restricted policy and things like that. But sometimes when you talk about outrageous stuff and then you're a Christian and try to protect and give critique, you got to be reminded they're gonna treat you like a Christian, and especially if you're black. It's that look, like Alvin Priest says, that look. You have what you have. You know what I'm saying? But most people just act like he don't have what it takes. But you gotta understand that Corey is one of those dudes that look obvious, but he's getting more views than anybody else in most trending videos. Well, Corey has to understand you're competing with Marquise Brownlee and everybody else up the top. You're a nigga. They look at you as a nigga end of the day, and they ain't showing you no mercy. So I understand why people just don't like the fact that change is around the corner and you expect more from people. But you gotta understand this stuff ain't gonna stop long term. You just gotta avoid it, fight it head on, and then they'll stop. It takes time, but it's doable. That will fade out in the future. And that's how you gotta have it. In so many words. So let me I'll be in my smooth darkness tonight, so y'all bear with me. So, I ain't got my other drop off this thing, but I hear my sound a little bit, you know, and that's just what you gotta have, you know. Yeah, tweak the mic. Yeah. Okay. So that's the stuff that you're gonna hear and lately, you know. Wow, she's defeat Sarah Palin in the house. Ooh, this is very interesting. So yeah, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. Defeating a rival opponent is a plus. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna put this over here. Yeah, it's kind of wild, because I'm gonna keep this up. But speaking of tomorrow, I'm gonna talk about the video game industry. I'm gonna talk about a lot of things, and this Thursday because I want to cover that and just speak on it. It may be 2 hours to three, whatever. Yes, I'll drop the link if y'all want to talk about it. I want to talk about the extensive conversation I had with my morning thoughts and the metrosexual stuff that I was talking about. And it's very common, they're pushing it on people and whatever. And that's been the thing for years and years. People complain about wokeism. Wokeism to me doesn't exist because there's a saying people say, if you go woke, you go broke, which is true. And people drop that shit. It was something until they start dropping it. Especially when I was in the workplace. They didn't want to hear that shit. Sounded great, but they didn't want to hear that shit. That's all I gotta say about that. But I'm just saying, basically, you just be mindful of what you're listening to, and expect people not to appreciate you long term. You just gotta deal with that. You just gotta move on and just accept it for what it is, and be reminded what it is long term. So when you have things like this, you know what time it is, and you know what to expect. So it's not just something personal or anything, and that's just that's how it is. That's how it is. And people expect you to do things and they just like, all right, I know people don't like gear and shit, but hey, I don't give a shit. At least I'm speaking to you properly and whatever. So I'm not saying like anything else. I was just like saying, hey, what's up? I know people be loud in the background and stuff, but but sometimes you got to come prepared, especially when you're speaking on politics. I get my shit right. They said this nigga got gear and all that other stuff. Yeah, hence the microphone. I'm speaking to y'all. I am broadcasting the message, but I'm trying to save y'all from the bullshit that goes on with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm very prepared and well decked out. So you just gotta understand something. This stuff matters to a certain degree, a certain extent. So you gotta be mindful of it. And this stuff matters long term. So what we got here is a guy that's got more subscribers. He's in the 14 millions, and he said something controversial based off of a fucking video game. We're gonna talk about it. The stuff that was mentioned from him. That's just how it is. And people got to be mindful of what they're doing and what they're listening to. So I'm not saying that people should learn from one another, but be mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? Like this stuff takes it very serious, and then people get upset, and then things go left real quick. So just be careful, especially on the net. Talking about race and nepotism, and people are emotional, but they know it's the truth. They know it's the truth. So it's like, it's damn if you do, damn if you don't, and then they just expect you to be different and be crazy and be a maniac or whatever or deranged. That's what they think of us. But you gotta understand, most people ain't shit on here. Especially most of them are narcissistic as hell and they don't think for their damn selves. Bunch of savages, you ask me. And that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? But you got people talking about it all the time. But yeah, nepotism is a big deal. It's always been a part of modern business. You're not gonna get rid of it. You just fight it head on, and then you got to get over it. So the thing about people not talking about it in certain spheres, they co-signed it. So it is what it is. Everybody's got their favorites. Like I give a fuck favoritism, nepotism. I don't support that shit. It's very narcissistic behavior, like I've always said, and it's always been that standard. So let's not embrace that, right? And that's why I look at it. You know, in so many views and so many in a little time. So it's 9:27. Yeah, we over here for about the hour, but let me step away for 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I go change, but I'll be right back. Whew, back, back at it again. Okay. So I'm in motion here. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on. All right. I just stepped away a little bit, a little refresh. Okay. But you do have people talk about favoritism a lot, and then you got niggas crying about it, be like, man, they ain't showing me no favoritism. Blah, blah, blah." You know, YouTube is gonna be on their bullshit. Like that's what they do. You should expect that by now, especially if you have 14 million. And dude, no one cares. Like you're a Christian. You're a big boy. Take care of it. You handle it. You got a team. I don't need a YouTube team. See, once you saw that die line, they got they got you already. So you gotta understand something. Corey, I understand something. Once you're on that side, ain't nobody gonna help your ass long term. So you're pretty much in limbo land. So you gotta stop kidding yourself and lying to the bullshit. You gotta be expecting much. But you got niggas thinking they're invincible, they think they're incredible and all this other shit, and then there they are, expecting much and know much than everybody else. But they're so full of shit and don't even understand that people don't even care about the shit. That's what you gotta understand. A lot of people just ain't going for it, bro. Like, I gotta stop with the bullshit, please. It is what it is. It is what it is. She private and live. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about her ass this going on next week. Yeah, yeah, man. Shit. 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 Let me hear this shit. Shit. Yeah, shouts out to Baller X, man. He's getting some content going. Shouts out to the nigga. But you know, that's what it is. Favoritism is king. But you know, and shouts out to everybody that come back and doing their thing. You know, we ain't seen them in a minute. Everybody's got their own TV, little fucking shows and little bullshit. People don't do content like they used to, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it ain't. And that's just bottom line. And I'm just not worried about anything else. The fuck? What's this on my fucking shit? Oh, same old shit. Get out of here. Get out of here. But that's what you have. But you know, I had to cover this tonight because I felt like, you know, we talked a little bit about it on Sunday, but I don't think Psycho can understand what the reason I'm talking about it is this is a big problem. I mean, that's not the topic for Sunday. Don't get it confused. The reason I talked about a small extensive of it, but ever since that video when Alvin Preach saw what Corey did, because he is a bigger YouTuber, he's got a hell of a views and following to that situation. It's nothing new. And once a big YouTuber say something about YouTube, that hurts their pockets a little bit. They're not gonna listen. They say you gotta hurt their pocketbook. I mean, fuck their pocketbook. And fuck what anybody says from Google. They're done. Fuck them. Like freedom of speech to me has been dead. We just hear they can get rid of us anytime. But I'm just saying, fuck them. Fuck everybody else. I stand on that principle. I'm just here to just do content. Like I ain't getting paid for this shit. For what? They can keep that. They can do what they want with it. But I'm just saying, like, I am not content friendly. I ain't trying to be content friendly. I'm just gonna put something out here and just keep it moving. If I had another channel and did it for money, it'd be for advertisement reasons. It'd be something. If I was in business, I have to, and I can't say certain things. But if it worked, they'll fuck with you. It's weird like that, right? It's just like when you fuck with a cell phone company, you're a customer. It's like, ooh, you want this nice stuff? They'll send you a bunch of junk ass email, useless trash to fuck with you, and they do show favoritism when it comes to politics. They got you. See, they'll fuck with you on their terms, not on your terms. So I'm saying that's how they work, especially if you're monetized. You got to be careful with that. They don't give a fuck about you. I say all monetization ain't like no. When you get a certain number of subscribers, you get those millions. They're gonna treat you different, but they're gonna treat you like everybody else at the same time. But the ones they treat different, they already know they're getting praise. They protect you. You're not on no bullshit. You're good. They got other platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and they good. YouTube said, no, please don't go over there and be popular than we are. We need you to make us feel great. Try and improve things on YouTube and try to lie and pretend they care. They don't care. They care about their damn pockets. Just like we'll talk about the video game industry and things like that. I saw a couple of clips and videos of people talking about Ubisoft taking the multiplayer in the old games. Talk about the old games being obsolete, and then they force you to play the remasters. That's tomorrow. We're gonna talk about all extents of that tomorrow, and it's political what they're doing, and this all goes back to 2024 elections and things like that. And there's favoritism to the modern games. You see it in a lot of stuff. You see this everywhere else, but that's the whole point, to get y'all to understand that this shit is real. You know what I'm saying? This shit is getting real. So it's pretty much like, y'all gotta understand this stuff. This stuff matters in time. So, you know what I mean? Because that's just the whole point of the favoritism and everything else. So if you're talking about these things, that's just it. You're basically in the loop. I'll turn this mic right here. Y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right just a second, but I'll be right back. I'm gonna go on mute so I can switch around something. Yeah, I'm back. Woo! I had to get this. I only have one line. So we're going to extend it the rest of the way. But yeah, this is something that he has to understand. Like, people like Corey and everybody else, like, they're gonna show favoritism. What do you expect? Like, take these damn socks off. Hurt my fucking feet or some shit. Let me take these off. Get loose footed out here. My toes to breathe and shit. But why do people care about it? Like, why care about when a company shows favoritism? You already know they're in game. That's the bullshit they be on. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have to understand, like, most companies don't give a fuck. Okay. That's just how they get down. I'm not saying that they're perfect or anything, but be mindful if you're trying to look for monetization. Other platforms do the same thing that this site does. They ain't shit. That's why the internet's dying. And they're trying to obsolete everything once you deal with the modern shit, and they're trifling and lazy. It's the people they have in power. So, but y'all gonna hear my smoothness tomorrow talking about that industry, how it relates to this topic right here. But this is my main content. I talk about real shit. And I talk about the political stuff, favoritism, like we just talked about Corey Kinston, because this is a primely from the week 2 weeks ago, and then fast forward, people still talking about it. It's a hot topic right now. He talked about is YouTube racist or Google and all that stuff. Who cares? If they have racist people in there, yeah, they're working on trying to change things, but they're not changing things. It depends on what they're trying to push and sell. But that goes to show you why I look at it for what it is. There is nepotism to certain content creators, and that's fine. We always get attacked based off our previous history on here in the website. We don't really care. Okay, this stuff ain't changing. This stuff ain't going nowhere. So it's pretty much like, okay, we're here, but people gonna talk all this bullshit all they want to, but they're idiots. End of the day, they can talk all this shit about, oh, this nigga don't know what he's talking about. Like, fuck them. Who is they? Who is they? They're nobodies to me. Especially these motherfuckers. Like, they some fucking bitches that they can't do no content. They say he lost a lot of channels. Well, he's a fucking loser. If he lost a lot of channels, I lost one. Haven't said some real shit and got sting opted, messing with them bitch ass niggas on the street. I had to cut my ties to the shit. I ain't cut my ties to certain individuals. I cut ties to certain niggas that fuck with them. That was behind that shit. I lost the channel off of that shit, and I maintained this one. And I promise, I swear that I will never monetize this channel. I was done with this shit then. I was done with it back then. Now it's getting worse. Y'all ain't getting paid. Most of y'all motherfuckers is not getting paid like that. Y'all say y'all are, but no, you're not. What's your other income besides YouTube? Well, I got $2,500. I got $4 million. That ain't enough, nigga. You need 25 to all the way to the max of the $1 billion to be accepted or more. Pretty much. Depends on where you at. The other places is probably higher than that, but we're trying to defend some bullshit. Yeah, man. But that's what you got to deal with normally on the tube and things like that. But that's pretty much what I'm saying in a nutshell. But when you're in this type of environment, you expect shit to not go your way and things like that. So expect more bullshit in the future. And Corey should know this stuff is not guaranteed, man. You gotta understand that a lot of people they just gonna be like, all right, we here, and then expect people to just get emotional about politics and things like that. But normally when I talk about it, I talk about the extensive what's going on. Yeah, wokeism is just a little small version of, you know, being awakened. A lot of motherfuckers not awakened, but we ain't gonna get into that because most of these motherfuckers ain't shit. And that's what you got to deal with. And and that's what you have to have in so many words. So key thing is be consistent. I'm not saying that anything is bad. Just keep that fucking shit in mind. 'Cause that shit is wild. You know what I'm saying? But people are doing their thing. So shouts out to people that's doing their thing and getting their minds right. That's just how I don't understand. But that's just how you gotta look at it. But when you have certain recordings, it's just like, okay, we here. And that's just not something that I expect anyone to care. But That's how it is. But people they just gonna be who they are, and at the end of the day, you just expect the bullshit to come. You know. So I'm not saying that not tried anything's crazy or stupid. Just be mindful of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because that stuff will drive you crazy. But you gotta understand this is the world we live in, and pretty much it. Because I ain't gonna drag this on too long because 2 hours is like my max when I do these type of content. But I just talk about nepotism, favoritism, and here's what we talked about early is the Niagara Institute .com blog signs of favoritism at work. That's a good one. I've read off the 20 things about it, and then there's 3 things you can do about it, and then or the boss himself can help you do about it, an assistant. And then we got this Santa Clara out of California, EDU, government ethics resource. What is government ethics, favoritism, cronyism, and nepotism? And that's what we talked about. It is pretty much some insight, but dude has to understand that's always been like that in business, especially this damn site or any site. You already know that, especially if you're a partner for YouTube and things like that nature. So you're pretty much in the ballpark and you have a team. That's great to hear, but y'all got to be consistent. Like if you have all videos that's getting age restricted and comment, and then you get an attack, you got your argument. So technically, he won the argument. So yeah, he's experienced it. They ain't saying nothing now. But that's all I gotta say for the night. But I'm gonna get up out of here. Appreciate everybody coming through. UD, roguish, degenerate. Yes, he says nature. Give him a star for that. Yeah, it's the nature of people. It's always have been. That's why I can't stand people like that. Shouts out to Tampa coming through. Bunker himself. Appreciate you for coming through. He said he practiced nepotism and all that. Yeah, family. That's understandable. Yeah. But shouts out to everybody that came through, man. But but that's always gonna be a thing. So Corey gotta get used to it. You Christians do it all the time. So oops. Let me stop. Let me get out of there. So with that, I want to say peace and shalom. And I'm out until tomorrow. I'll see y'all.